To Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533 or Tom at TrentoVision.tv. Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and TrentoVision.tv. Now, let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
What's going on here? Okay. 221 years ago, almost to the day. Almost to the day. December 15th, 221 years ago, 1791. Do you know what happened on December 15th, 1791? Any historians out there? 888-565-1470. Hi, Tom Trento, Trento Vision. What happened on December 15th, 1791? Well, here's what happened. The first 10 amendments to the Constitution of the United States of America. There's another name for those 10 amendments. The Bill of Rights. The first 10 amendments were ratified by the United States Congress on December 15th, 1791. 221 years ago. And today on Trento Vision, I would wager to bet that most people have never read in context, looked at all 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, since maybe 4th grade or 5th grade, whenever they rolled those things out for an hour or so. Today, I think we will, in our 3 hours with our good friends from South Florida, from the state of Florida, from all over the world, as we're video broadcasting a signal on TrentoVision.tv. On the radio side, WNN 1470. Today, December 18th, 2012, we're going to reflect back 221 years and 3 days ago as to what these guys were thinking when they said, oops, we made a mistake. We left some stuff out of that Constitution. Should have put a few more things in there. We have to amend the Constitution. And it was only 87, like 4 years old. The thing was 4 years old, the Constitution. They go, got to add some stuff.
Should have had a V8.
Should have had a V8, right. Should have had a V8. Well, there'll be no V8s for you, and there may be no Second Amendment for you. And as things are going with this administration, there may be no First Amendment. Our work here at TrentoVision.tv and at the United West for many years has been on that First Amendment. We spend a lot of time on that because we make a lot of noise, not just here with our big megaphone at WNN 1470, but we travel all over the world and we produce videos that literally millions upon millions of people have seen and are seeing. Mark, how many people look at our videos per month right now?
1.2 million.
No, per month.
1.2 million.
1.2 million people.
Now it's actually 107,000.
Oh, I was going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh,
and then
here's those
after
numbers.
we wake up.
We've had some million hitters.
No, 107,000 is actually the real number.
So 107,000 are, the audio's a little low, but as I'm cranking up here. But I'm cranked out here. We get, 100,000 people a month looking at what we have done. And over the years, literally millions of people. And a lot of the material we deal with is extremely controversial. And we know there's a movement worldwide, by the bad guys headed by the Islamic Bloc, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, 56 states, now plus the new state of make-believe Palestine. They have been working with, let's have a moment of silence for our Secretary of State. She's supposed to be in Congress, I think, today.
Yeah, she had a concussion, though, Tom.
She fell down.
She tripped on Huma's prayer rug.
That is funny. That is funny. Hillary Clinton stepped on her Muslim Brotherhood bag lady, her Muslim Brotherhood bag lady's prayer rug, because Uma is a practicing Muslim. She's her mother and father are part of the Muslim Brotherhood and this Muslim Sisterhood. She was a member of the Muslim Student Association at Georgetown, and she studied in Saudi Arabia, worked in Saudi Arabia for a Muslim Brotherhood organization. So the word is that she's a serious practicing Muslim. So we believe that Hillary tripped over Uma's prayer rug, fell down, hit her head, and can't testify now in Congress regarding what she knows about Benghazi.
Who was the
Breaking news.
Who's the guy with the white beard? Fox News?
Santa Claus.
No. Talks with about the UN all the time. Former talks about the UN.
White mustache.
White mustache.
John Bolton.
John Bolton.
Yeah, the former ambassador to the United Nations.
John Bolton.
I have a political crush on him.
John Bolton had an interesting comment. He said, Hillary has, in what we call in diplomatic circles, a diplomatic illness.
That's pretty good.
Whenever someone doesn't want to talk or testify.
You have the blue flu.
Right.
Whenever someone doesn't want to testify.
Whenever someone doesn't want to testify on whatever issue or speak, they have a diplomatic illness. Okay. And that's what John Bolton called it.
That's pretty good. But we know, and this is breaking news, you can take this to your local Sharia-financed bank, that Hillary slipped on Uma's prayer rug, hit her head, and Uma was going to lay hands on her, but said, "Oh, wait a minute, we don't do that in the Islamic religion." So I'll call the doctor, and the doctor prescribed rest at home and told Uma, "Keep your prayer rug in the corner of the room from now on, okay, and facing to the east."
Yeah, Bolton says she's not going to be able to avoid testifying forever like this. So
interesting, but our point is that there's an attack against the First Amendment in this country, and sadly, joining the attack are the usual suspects on the left. Most of the Democrats are part of this attack, believe it or not, and the attack simply says that people. Oh wait, that's Hillary. She's calling. She's going to go on the record and say no.
No, it's Bill saying, "Don't pick on Hillary.
Leave Hillary alone." The left has joined the Islamic bloc, which will now be part of a caliphate. Man, this stuff sounds so friggin' crazy, but it's what's going on in the world, folks. The attack is on the concept of hate speech and the new effort, and you will see this being rolled out in the next 4 years. The new effort is to classify hate speech as something not protected under the First Amendment, thereby folks like us here, like myself, like others that criticize ideologies that are incompatible with the West or in contradiction to the West vis-a-vis Islam in many respects. We would be like, I don't know, how about all of Europe?
If we were in the Netherlands, we'd be in jail right now.
We would be in jail.
Yeah.
I was standing under Arc de Triomphe on Champs-Élysées. That's about the amount of total French that I know.
Which you just butchered, by the way.
Okay. Give us, Mark. You're a Frenchy guy. Give us the correct.
Arc de Triomphe.
Oh, Arc de Triomphe. I spit all over the microphone thing here. It's got a sponge on it, though. I was standing there waiting to go up to the platform in front of the, what country was that? Dubai, I think it was. The Dubai embassy, the embassy for the country Dubai, is right next of the Arch of Triumph, okay? The Arch of Triumph. And that's interesting. They bought up that property right next to the Arch de Triomphe.
Probably not a coincidence.
No, I don't think so. But our friends, the counter-jihad movement, the anti-Islamization movement in Europe, they got a public permit to set their platform to criticize the Islamization of France. They set it up right in front of the embassy of Dubai against the wall, which was interesting. And I had to have my speech edited and censored by the good guys, by our friends. And I had 3 statements in there. Whereas we saw, Mark, in apostasy, my Sharia apostasy, we saw that Islam offers someone the opportunity to accept. If you accept and become a Muslim, you're okay, you're in the club. If you choose not to accept, then you become a possible enemy of the club, of the state. You have to become subservient. You have to become a second-class citizen. You have to pay a tax. You can't do all these different things. You got to wear funny clothes. You got to wear a goofy hat. You can't build a particular building. Or if you don't want to convert, you don't want to submit, you have to die. So I used that trilogy to simply invite people in France to join France, to become a Frenchman. And I used the words. We want you to join and convert to being a Frenchman. We want you to submit to French rule, or you will die. And it was a metaphorical die. You will die by losing the opportunity to experience all that it means to be French, all that it means to be European. You can maintain your Islamic faith, all of that, but in the context of the nation state of France. I could not go up there and say, you will die, even metaphorically. They go, you cannot say that in public space. We all will get arrested. Everybody would have gotten arrested if I said those words in France. Coming to a city in the United States near you, because the Constitution is under attack by the left. Today our focus will be on Amendment number 2. We're going to read all 10 of the first 10, the Bill of Rights. We're going to read those during the course of the day. I'll read you the first one right now. We'll do that one too. First Amendment, ratified December 15th, 1791, 221 years and 3 days ago by a bunch of old, white, angry, rich Mitt Romney types, okay?
Property owners.
Yeah, property owners. They said Congress, the body that they were part of, shall make no law respecting an establishment of a religion, can't have a state church, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. But you can't keep anybody from freely exercising their religion, or abridging this is a good one, or abridging the freedom. What does abridging mean? The freedom of speech. What's abridging mean? Abridging.
Abridging, editing, cutting it down, or saying you limited it. So, like, the abridged version of the rules of Sharia.
It's the watered-down version.
The watered-down version.
Yeah, it's the Reader's Digest version.
Those guys used such big words back then. Or prohibiting the free exercise of, or abridging, or watering down the freedom of speech. How about that?
Yeah.
Or watering down the Trento Vision version of Amendment 1.
Yeah.
The watering down of freedom of speech or of the press. Isn't it interesting that the press sides with the abridgment of free speech when it's critical of Islam? Isn't that interesting how that works?
Well, they've
I
been
wonder how that came
self-censoring
about.
themselves for quite a while.
Or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Oh, man, we're in trouble. If they go after that one like they are planning to, we are in trouble, activists of the world. But for today, I'm going to jump over number 1. I'm going to go to number 3 to give you sort of the bookends of number 2. So the first one deals with religion, free speech, press, assembly, and the right to petition the government. Number 3, anybody know what number 3 is? It's kind of a weird one. No soldier shall, in the time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner.
That could be an interesting one coming up here in the near future. We might have to dust off number 3 here. Hold on. Come here. Whoa, Posse Comitatus. Let's go back and look at that. Okay. Hold on. Because we're about to break out some troops here. So. Mary, dust off number 3.
President Obama sent these guys to come in our house. Show them number 3. No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner. Well, maybe it's a time of war against terror. Nor in the time of war.
What if it's a war against the citizens?
Nor in the time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law.
That's in trouble. That opens the door right there.
We got to see what the laws are.
Yeah.
So the first one allows you to. All of these are related. What is the framework as we go through the Bill of Rights here on History 101 on Trento Vision on December 18th, 221 years and 3 days after the Bill of Rights was ratified? What is the context of the Bill of Rights? The Bill of Rights, and what are these guys addressing?
Well, actually, it was in response to a little-known rebellion that happened back in Massachusetts called Shays' Rebellion. And Shays' Rebellion was the government came in and tried to oppressively tax these people for war debts. And
what was the circa what of Shays?
1780, or
so,
just 87 or something.
So
like
right
that.
after the Constitution was
they're still under
signed.
the article, very disjointed, government. And
it gets a little sloppy, like in Egypt.
But the
slicing each other's throats.
Yeah, it was two people, Daniel Shays and Joe Shattuck, Shttuck, 2 of the main protest leaders, and it was actually in response to a rebellion to rebel against the government.
We have a guy calling in too,
and so that's the reason the right to bear arms was because they formed a militia and they didn't want to have a right to form a militia. So it was a big, long process to get these Bill of Rights in response to what the government cannot do to you.
Okay, so here's for class today on history in Florida, history in the world, the Constitution, which is not a very large document. The Constitution was written, signed in 1887, 11 years after the Declaration and those documents were written. And then a bunch of stuff happened after 1887. 1787. A bunch of stuff happened after that where the founding fathers said, we got to add some stuff to this Constitution. We have to amend the Constitution because people, citizens of this state, have more rights than we have allowed in the Constitution. Let's articulate those rights that they have as citizens of this country. Let's amend the Constitution, articulate them clearly, and let's refer to them as something else. And it was, I think we have 28 or 29 amendments now. It was only 10 on December 15th, 1791, 221 years and 3 days ago. And they call these the Bill of Rights. These are the rights that American citizens have. These are integral and part of the DNA of what it means to sign this compact and be an American citizen. First one we just read.
Well, I just want to reemphasize, the country was about to fall apart, literally fall apart. I mean, right after the Revolutionary War, because the war debts were so high and everything, and the government was being very oppressive to the people. I mean, extremely oppressive to the people. And that's when the people revolted and rebelled, and that's the reason you got the Bill of Rights, and one of them is the right to bear arms, like you're going to read here in a second. Okay,
this is getting clearer and clearer. Just because you write a document, I mean, the you can do a two-shot here. The framers, and I'm looking at that guy on the roof. He has not. The framers, I'm just making sure he's got a good shot right into here. The framers and the founding fathers.
Since we're talking about this.
Yeah.
You know, the black helicopters flying over there. The framers and the founders, they gave it their best shot. The Constitution. They fell a little short. The people got upset. Started to say, "Hey, we got rights," and they went back to the drawing board. This is how many years? 21 years. 87, 97. No, 4 years. This is 4 years after the signing. So 4 years of confusion. They finally went back and they wrote, 100 words. It took them 4 years because they had to articulate these things very carefully. Amendment 1 goes to free speech. They probably were having their speech suppressed. They probably wanted to petition the government, and they were getting knocked over the heads.
Right.
Well, not probably. It's a
They
Shays
were.
Rebellion.
Shays Rebellion was all about.
They were, I'm sure, drawing those crazy cartoons of the 1700s, you know,
were.
with a guy with a stick coming out of his head.
Well, here's actually
Mozart.
Yeah, Mozart.
I actually put up one of those crazy cartoons. I actually got it.
So those are great, man. Yeah, Thomas Paine and all his stuff. So
I feel your pain.
And you know, probably some of the states were saying the best way to run a government is a state church, and they're going, no state churches. And the people who didn't want to be part of the state church were getting pushed around. So they said, you can't do that. You can't have a state church. You got to let people experience the religion that they choose, or no religion at all. So notwithstanding the fact that it was a Christian movement based upon the Judeo, Old and New Testament context. So all that was going on. They had to write a First Amendment. Then
What does that presuppose?
yeah, what was going on? Why would you write an amendment to the Constitution and say, no, soldiers can't go into somebody's house and take over their house? You can't do that. Why would you?
So if there's a
Because
like a
there were soldiers
homegrown-
going in the house and taking things over. That's why.
Yeah.
the U.S. soldiers
Hello,
were saying,
I'm with the federal government and I'm here to buck.
yeah, I'm going to stay in your house tonight.
Well, it was in response to the back during the first part of the Revolutionary War, where actually British troops were actually coming over and quartering houses, and
So the third,
Right.
well, actually, British troops are actually coming in
Yeah.
and just say, "Hey, we're taking over this house. We're setting up a headquarters here for military operations. Sorry,
Yeah.
you're gonna have. This is
And
also
we
a
have
hospital.
the uniforms and the bayonets,
Yeah, right.
so
And sorry, we're taking it over.
Yeah.
Ours.
and the American soldiers saw that, hey, we got to ride another 100 miles tonight in the snow and in this crazy stuff. Let's just stay at the nice house with the candles lit there.
yeah.
And hey, we're with the First Brigade, Second Division, and you got to move over. We're sleeping on your floor and make us some nice mutton. So. Without the consent of the owner, nor in a time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. So they said, look, we know what you can't do. You can't go into their house unless they give you permission. We'll figure out how to, all the ins and outs and problems. But right now we got to rush out these 10 amendments to Bill of Rights to calm everybody down and let them know that we're going to amend the Constitution and include these rights that are part of nature's law. All right, now we're going to get to number 2. And then we'll read a few of these. I'll give you a little tease. Number 4 deals with searches and seizures. That's a big one.
Yes.
Well, I studied that in my law
In
enforcement
your police
years.
days.
Amendment number 5. What's amendment number 5?
I plead it.
I take the 5th.
Yes.
Right? I take the 5th. Number 6. No, I'm just going to leave it right there because these get interesting, actually, in a historical context.
Yeah,
but
we
today,
have to establish who we are, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Today we're going to deal with number 2 because we've got idiot politicians and knee-jerk reactions, and in a time of a horrendous, unspeakable, and we broke all of that here last Friday, and laid out the Newtown Sandy Hook Elementary School. Man, I got some bizarre stuff on that yesterday. I got an email. Phew. I got to check it out. I have not checked it out. I got an email from somebody, and the email says, take a look at this. The movie that the killer in Aurora went to see, the Batman, The Dark Knight Rises, whatever. They showed screenshots from the movie, and they blew them up. And the screenshots from the movie, The Dark Knight Rides, I think the name of it is, the one in Aurora where the shooter killed all the people there. The screenshots have a planning session with maps and charts and marks and all of this. And the photos were blown up. And on one chart, it's got an X over the town of Sandy Hook. And then another chart, it's got an X over Aurora.
Right.
Both names that were involved in both shootings, Aurora and Sandy Hook. They're on a map as locations where some event was going to take place. Have no idea what that means, but the person who sent the email says, just take a look at this. This is pretty interesting.
So like a precognitive native event
I
or
don't, well,
precognition or something?
both of these guys were, from what we understand, were gamers, serious gamers.
All right.
And we're going to get into some of that stuff too. But right now, the country has a mix of a deep-seated emotion for the 20 children, the 6 adults, and the mom too, obviously, and the country's heart is broken. I mean, I don't know. I saw on TV last night the show. I just saw. I think it was on the news or whatever. The Voice.
Right.
Did you see what they did?
No.
Did you ever see that show, The Voice?
I'm afraid not.
No.
It's one of these shows like American
American
contest,
Idol type of thing.
like a
Yeah.
singing
I know what
contest?
it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've never actually.
They've got
seen it.
about they're down to the final 3. One of the girls is from Palm Beach County, but they got about the crew the singing crew of about 20 people. They opened the show, everybody's in black, and 20 candles, I think 20 candles, and 20 singers, and each singer held a white card with each child's name with their age, and they sang this phenomenal song as a tribute to the memory of these folks, and it was an amazing, very moving, very touching memorial done absolutely perfectly. It was just so sensitive, and the horror of the tragedy has caused this it's not bizarre, we predicted it, this backlash against guns, guns. So today we're going to deal with what goes through the minds of idiot politicians like Bloomberg and these others, and how they formulate public policy. But let me read the little hurdle that everybody has to get over.
Yeah.
It's called Amendment Number 2.
Well,
Which is really short.
I wanted to actually highlight that. Did you see the Saturday Night Live event
No.
where they did the tribute to the kids
No.
and everything? Well, I have it queued up here if you guys want to.
Is it serious, or it's got to be serious?
No, it's serious.
Yeah.
They did an excellent job.
Yeah, do it.
And well, go ahead and give me 20 seconds and I'll
Okay.
get it up. Go ahead.
20, 19, 18, 17, 16. Peter
Is this another
Feynman-Teen,
quiz?
Peter Feynman-Teen, BizPac-Teen,
PeterFeynmanLaw.com.
PeterFeynmanLaw.com teen. Yes, if you do need a lawyer, while we're queuing this up, Peter's the guy. Peter Feynman, Feynman, F-E-A-M-A-N, FeynmanLaw.com. Peter is a good friend,
Yes.
a compatriot, a patriot, a counter-jihad warrior. He understands Islamic jihad. He's written a couple of books about the subject matter. He has stood in the defense of the United West in lawsuit. He has, as plaintiffs, we were the plaintiffs. I don't think we've ever been the defendants. That time
But
is
we
coming.
are willing to try.
That day is coming.
That day is coming.
That day is coming.
Also, he knows what's in the Bill of Rights.
He knows what's in the Bill of Rights, and he probably did not watch Saturday Night Live, but you will, and you'll listen to Saturday Night Live this past weekend, a tribute to the children That's pretty good.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I thought that was
So they
Yeah.
kept their
yeah,
theme.
Yeah.
yeah.
But they now how did I didn't see anything that tied that to Newtown.
Well, they started off the broadcast by saying that part of the clip was not in
Oh,
this. I
okay,
was just
okay.
playing the song.
Okay.
But they said, here's a tribute song to
Okay.
the people. Da, 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 da.
All right. Well, on that tribute, let's take a trip to South Carolina briefly with Joe Dugan. Joe, are you with us?
Hi, Tom.
Hi. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing good.
Good. You are putting together an amazing event, the South Carolina Tea Party Convention. But before we get into that, what are your feelings and your thoughts about what occurred last Friday in Connecticut?
Obviously, I think it's a tragedy of enormous proportions. I think that the press is totally misguided on where they lay the blame. However, there are all kinds of instant reactions of putting new control on the use of firearms and so forth, and we know that the criminal element in our society are the first ones that have access to firearms. That if we didn't license firearms, or if we didn't allow our Second Amendment to serve us, that the criminals would still have the guns, and people who are not of their right mind will continue to be not of their right mind and take actions that are horrific. This is not a gun problem. This is a social problem.
Yeah, we're gonna. That's gonna be our focus for a good part of the show today, all 3 hours, because last week, Joe, when we came into the studio on Friday the 14th, in the morning we saw the events unfolding, and the only indication I had that it was a grave and serious situation was the amount of first responders hardware that was there. But I'm going, okay, well, there's a lot of kids. They want to get them out. Somebody fired a few shots somewhere. Yeah. And we didn't know until about 2:30 when we walked into the studio. Our show goes on at 3. So we pushed aside our regularly scheduled show, and we dealt with it as the news was breaking. As the New York Times was improperly reporting what was going on, we were covering it. And we said in the first hour that the bodies of these babies will not even be cold before the whore politicians who hate guns. That's why they live. They hate guns. They hate guns as a symbolic representation of freedom, of conservatism, of Tea Party, whatever. Yeah. They will exploit the deaths of these poor children for their political gain. We said that would happen. God, it happened very quickly.
Well, they hate guns for us, but they all have bodyguards who carry guns.
Isn't that
funny? And they
funny?
don't mind having guns for them, so long as they themselves don't have to carry them. And in fact, we, the taxpayers, are paying for somebody to carry a gun for them.
Isn't that funny?
Well, you know what? What I really found interesting.
Gee, I'm so shocked that there are leftist hypocrites.
Yes.
Hypocrites.
Well, here's the thing too. Is like, all right, this is a media who got everything wrong last Friday. I mean, everything wrong.
Yeah.
The shot his father. No, he didn't shoot his father. He shot his mom in the school. No, he didn't shot his mom in the school. The mom was a teacher in school. No, the mom was a teacher in school.
It was his brother. No, it was him. No, it was his.
They consistently get things wrong, and we're supposed to listen to them about gun control.
Yeah. They have.
Or anything.
Well, that's our show.
Or anything.
That's going to be our show today. But that's not why you're here, Joe. You're here to tell us, give us a weekly update on the South Carolina Tea Party Convention.
Yes.
This is the first since the election that I know of, first in the beginning of the new year. What's going on, Joe? Give us an update.
Yes,
I'd like to offer one more comment on the subject,
Sure.
Tom, before.
Sure.
And that is that, so many times the Democrats and left wing are able to frame the argument instead of they frame the argument calling it a payroll tax cut, when in actuality it is a defunding of Medicare and Social Security. And here they're framing this argument against guns, when the reality of it is that we have seen such a corruption in our culture due to Hollywood glorifying killing people and living without any moral standards whatsoever, that has made our society one in which we need to wake up and start protecting ourselves. We need more of the Second Amendment, not less of it.
Yeah, that's, the dividing line in the United States right now on this debate, and we welcome this debate. It's a very important debate. The dividing line is the role that the Second Amendment will play in the lives of Americans. And I don't know if you caught the first part of the show, Joe, but we're having a civics lesson today on Trento Vision. We're going through the Bill of Rights, all 10 amendments, and we set the historical context for these. The 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, didn't drop out of the sky and fall on the ground. There was a historical context for it. In 1787, the Constitution was signed. There was still unrest and rebellion after that. Everybody didn't settle down. And as a result, there had to be a clarification of the inherent and integral rights that American citizens had that were protected by the Constitution. First one deals with free speech, free assembly, freedom of religion, no state church, freedom to petition the government. The third one deals with the fact that soldiers can't come in your house and take it over unless you invite them in. Why in the world would that language pop up other than the historical context for what was happening precipitated a necessity of amendments, thus the Bill of Rights. The second one sits between free speech and no soldiers in your house. That's what we're dealing with today. So thank you for weighing in on it. And when we finish with you in a little bit, you can push everything aside and watch the rest of the show and tell all your friends to watch. But tell us what's going on in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach right now.
Okay, Tom, we've had a couple of recent updates for our convention. You were talking about the Bill of Rights. It just so happens that I got confirmation this morning that Dr. Matthew Spalding from the Heritage Foundation,
wow,
who has written the book, We Still Hold These Truths, Rediscovering Our Principles, Reclaiming Our Future, will be speaking at our convention on the Constitution. And we also, late last week, got confirmation that Matt Kibbe, the president of FreedomWorks, will also be a speaker.
Oh, cool.
So this is going to be quite unique in that we have the leaders of the three largest Tea Party organizations in the country all speaking at our convention on January 12th and 13th. We have Jenny Beth Martin from the Tea Party Patriots, Matt Kibbe, as I said, from FreedomWorks, and also Tim Phillips from Americans for Prosperity.
Oh, we like them.
Wow, yeah.
Well, that's actually...
So it is really an all-star lineup.
You got Neanderthals on top of Neanderthals,
that's
man.
right. Yeah, you get the whole hate group out there.
Yeah. Where's all the progressives? Did you see the little thing I wrote in our email today about progressives? You know what a definition of
Are
a
we
progressive
supposed
is?
to read all those
Are you supposed to
emails?
read everything you send us? God.
Joe, you know what I defined a progressive. And I defined him as somebody that prefers Castro over Jefferson. You know?
Oh, yes, I did see that, yes.
That's it. That is really a
It is,
progressive.
Yeah.
that's where they progressed.
Forget
towards.
about Thomas Jefferson. Fidel Castro. He knows.
Fidel.
He knows how to run a.
Yeah.
Here's what I don't get. You got
And
Venezuela.
Che Rivera.
You got
And Che Guevara.
Che,
Yeah.
You have Venezuela, which is a pretty, first world country in many respects. And Hugo Chavez, or Hugo Schmugo, whatever his name is, Chavez, who's dying of cancer, goes to Cuba to be treated for cancer. What the heck's wrong with Venezuelan doctors? But in any event.
All Venezuelan doctors are Cuban. Come on, I've been there.
Oh, okay.
Every last Venezuelan doctor is Cuban, I guarantee you.
Probably. All right, so you got a great headliner, folks, there. What is your goal? You're pouring your life into this. You put a phenomenal convention on last year. You had 1,200 people. What is when you lay your head down on the pillow Sunday night, the 13th of January, and you say, "Well done, thy good and faithful Joe," what was done? What do you want accomplished?
What I really want to accomplish is two things. I want to bring these forbidden topics, forbidden by our administration, forbidden topics out into the sunlight, and have an honest discussion, an honest and truthful discussion of really how great the crises our country is facing, and have our speakers offer plausible, common sense solutions for these problems. They are fixable if we have the will to do it. I want to have a documentary edited with a speaker's solutions and present it to Congress shortly after the inauguration. And if Congress, we're going to request that Congress incorporate these solutions into legislation in the first 6 months of 2013. And I hope that bills will pass reflecting these ideas, but I'm also a bit of a realist, and I know that everything is not going to pass, but by being in a bill in Congress, I would hope that the international press would pick up on it, and we will expose these crises that we find ourselves facing through the foreign press if we can't get it through the mainstream media.
Joe, what do you do for a living? I mean, you're putting so much time into this. What is your job, your day job?
My life is Tea Party. I'm retired. I used to be a director of operations for an electronics plant.
Oh, that's why you're such a good organizer. Okay, I get it.
But I have dedicated my life to this. It'll be 4 years this coming April.
Wow.
And
receive no compensation.
What? Well, hopefully Saving America will be the compensation that we're all looking for. But Saving America means that there's a benchmark at which we say America has been saved. Now, what generation are you in? Are you in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100? What are you in?
I am a leading edge baby boomer.
What does that mean?
So,
I'm a baby boomer. Tom's
64, 46 to 64.
You're so young, Tom.
46. You're in your 50s, 60s.
Late 60s.
Okay. What part of America, if we could turn back the clock, and say, boom, this is America as it should be, what years would you put that clock to?
In the 20th century, I would put that clock somewhere around 1944, 45, when we saved the rest of the world from Nazism, and our generosity in rebuilding Europe was so overwhelming, and GIs coming back to the war from the war were starting now to get an education and building families and raising young children with a moral fiber that is our heritage.
I like that answer.
Good luck. Good luck.
No,
Yeah,
he doesn't say the 1950s when everything was booming and prosperous. He says, right after the war, when we really had it together,
unified,
when we really knew who we were, when we had a purpose, and we really were the light of the world. And
But TV was really bad.
A square little.
yeah,
Oh,
the video
God.
guy over
Oh,
here is
God,
not so
it's
fond
horrible.
of the 1940s.
Oh God, please, no.
Oh my God!
How many times have you poked yourself in the eye with rabbit ears? You know, right?
I was the remote control.
That's right. Channel 2, Mark.
Mark.
There were
channel two.
3. I grew up in Jersey. There were 3 channels: 2, 4, and 7. CBS, NBC, ABC, and then there was a PBS station that had on Bozo the Clown. So, no, you know, I mean, realistically speaking, certainly we can never capture the daily experiences of those years, but there are principles that were followed that if we can find those principles and apply them today, problem is we have such a dumb citizenry. I mean, illiterate, that people, they don't understand.
Functional illiteracy.
They're
Educationally
illiterate.
challenged.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you throw all of that into the mix, then and then you get those folks elected. Have you ever seen some of the ridiculously dumb elected Congress people we have?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Maxine Waters,
I mean, they can't articulate
and she gets elected over and over again.
a sentence. They can't think clearly about it because they represent a group of people like that. Well, when you get that in, those folks, then there's a lowering of the bar instead of raising of the bar. You know, this president wants everybody to do better by lowering the bar, so we're all.
Well,
not,
it's all by design. The dumbing down of America is truly a Marxist plot. I mean, they have conventions every year. The teachers, you know, they meet in Chicago and they talk about it. How can we dummy down the kids to make sure that nobody can function without the government telling them what to do?
There's so many distractions out there as far as.
Unfortunately, sometimes you have to fail before you can start to recover. And I would make the argument that for the past 25 years or so, we have bought our way out of every recession. We did not allow the normal business cycle to take place, and we should have let the recession take place in 2008 instead of paying off all the tax and all the foreign investors that were dealing in derivatives sold to them by a crooked Wall Street. And it's either... The old saying is, you pay me now or you pay me later. And if you pay me later, you're always going to pay me more. And now we may pay the ultimate price.
Yep. All right, Joe.
That's very good. We're not allowed to fail.
We're going to have to let him go.
We're not allowed to fail in this society.
No, I mean, we can go on and on with this. We have to move on a bit here.
No, I'd like to have him come back, though. I'd like to have Joe come back.
Well, we need contact information. I have people that want to attend. What do they need to do to sign up and go to the South Carolina Tea Party Convention on Myrtle Island, Myrtle Beach, January 12, 13, Saturday, Sunday. Who do they contact? What do they do, Joe?
Well, let me give you an email address, and this is for an associate of mine who will send information about the convention to anyone who emails him at Ron, that's RONRH 33 at gmail.com. That's Ron, RH 33 at gmail.com.
All right. Joe Dugan, thank you very much. We'll be in touch, and we'll look to hear from you next week before Christmas for your pre-Christmas update for the convention. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
All
right, bye-bye. Joe Dugan, everybody, and we're gonna take us out of this hour with our one of our special features, My Sharia. Are you ready, Mark? Here we go.
I was until I had the volume down. But...
And we're gonna.
If at first you don't succeed. Oh, here we go.
My Sharia.
Laws out of the Sharia handbook.
My Sharia. Never gonna stop or give it up. Killing infidels, always got it planned. Underhand, give Allah a yell. Whoa!
From the Reliance of the Traveler.
My
Morsi sounds like Dean. Remember Dean when he was running for president? And we're gonna go from here. We're gonna go from there. John, what was his name? What was his name? Dean.
Howard Dean.
Howard Dean.
Yeah.
My Sharia is yelling. All right, Mark, what do we have? We got a couple of minutes. Give us our Sharia update.
All right. Forbidden things to do under Sharia law are selling grapes, raisins are similar
Wait a minute.
Selling grapes, raisins are similar to someone who will make wine out of them. Or wood are like someone who will make a musical instrument. You're not allowed to sell weapons to non-Muslims who will use them against you. Wine to someone who will drink it. Or hemp to someone who will smoke it.
So you can't sell, if you're a good Muslim, you can't sell grapes.
Grapes to someone who will make wine.
Oh, you can sell grapes to somebody that says, I'm not going to make any wine with
If
this.
you just want a raisin, yeah, you can sell,
Okay.
exactly.
But if a guy says, I'm going to go home and make some wine, you can't sell it because wine is not allowed.
Exactly.
Right. Now, do you
why
think that he
isn't
has
wine
to do
allowed?
like a Q&A? Now,
Well,
what are
it's
you going to
forbidden.
do with
It's
these
forbidden.
grapes if I sell them to you?
Yeah. That reminds me of the Minnesota taxi driver at the airport that wouldn't
That's
drive to
right.
the guy in
to
the
the
automobile.
liquor store.
But the big one,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
relate to our subject today,
Yeah.
is you're not allowed to sell weapons to non-Muslims who will use them against us.
Oh, okay. I can almost see some reasonableness in that. You don't
Yeah.
sell weapons to your enemy.
But no
Oh,
wood
but we
for
can
your
do it.
Yeah, I
You
was
know
gonna say, problem is, we don't follow that rule. We need a little Sharia in America. A little bit of
But
Sharia.
they have weapon ban laws in Islam. So they don't want you to have people to have weapons. Are going to use them against
I got to
you.
agree with him on that one.
Well,
yeah,
it
for
goes
sure.
the same logic of why the left wants to ban weapons against.
Oh,
people,
because the
because they-
conservatives are the enemy. Oh,
Right.
great. All right. Well, we're going to get into in depth the Second Amendment. If you want to join our conversation, we're going to come back in just a few minutes. 888-565-1470. Tom, CJ, Mark. We'll be right back.
I'll never forget that moment.
Never forget that moment.
As long as I
As
live.
long as I live.
It started with a phone call.
I got the text when I was at work.
My first call up ever.